Okay, we're going to talk about main idea today, and we're going to use the text looking for lunar ice. So first we're going to take it paragraph by paragraph, and we're going to find the main idea for each paragraph. So paragraph 1, lunar rocks lost their water long ago. So the moon is a totally dry world, right? Not necessarily. Remember that the moon is covered in impact craters. Many of those impacting comets, asteroids, and meteoroids delivered some water ice to the moon. The ice carried by space rocks scattered across the lunar surface upon impact. Sunlight quickly evaporated most of the ice, but scientists suspect that some of that water ice still survives on the moon. Okay, and you'll see that I underlined the moon is a totally dry world, not necessarily. Sunlight quickly evaporated most of the ice. It doesn't say all of the ice. Scientists suspect that some of that water ice is still on the moon. Okay, so the main idea for paragraph 1 is the moon may not be dry. Okay, paragraph 2. The only way water can be preserved on the moon is in extremely cold areas, explained the lunar scientist Alan Binder. The coldest places on the moon are where the sun never shines. Some of the moon's deep craters cast permanent shadows. The moon's north and south poles have some always dark craters. How much ice survives in these cold trap craters? Scientists are working to find out. Finding a lot of ice on the moon would be a big deal. If humans are going to build a moon base someday, they'll need water. Not having to bring water from Earth would be a big help. Okay, so here I've underlined the moon's north and south poles have some always dark craters. Okay, because it says up here, the only way water can be preserved is in extremely cold areas. Well, these areas are always dark, they're not touched by the sun. So the main idea for paragraph 2 is water can be preserved in cold areas without sun. Okay, paragraph 3. Searching the shadows. 2 decades passed without a single lunar visitor after the last astronaut walked on the moon in 1972. Another spacecraft finally headed to our orbiting neighbor in 1994. No humans were aboard Clementine when it launched. It was a robotic space probe. Clementine mapped the moon's surface. It found permanently dark craters near the moon's poles. Clementine's radar also found hints of ice in those craters. But when radar telescopes on Earth looked, they could not find the lunar ice. So was it really there? Okay, in this paragraph, I've underlined the last astronaut walked to the moon in 1972. Okay, another spacecraft went in 1994, but there were no humans aboard. It was a robotic space probe. It found permanently dark craters near the moon's poles with hints of ice. Okay, so the main idea for paragraph 3 is this robotic probe found craters with hints of ice. Okay, paragraph 4. Lunar Prospector went to find out in 1998. The small probe scanned the moon's surface. 7 weeks after orbiting, Lunar Prospector scientists made a big announcement. We have found water at both lunar poles, Alan Binder told reporters in March of 1998. He was in charge of the Lunar Prospector mission. Water ice crystals seemed to be mixed in with the dusty lunar soil. Lunar Prospector scientists said that a small lake's worth of water lay scattered as frost near the moon's poles. Okay, so again, something went and scanned the surface. They announced that they found water at both poles, which in the previous paragraph it tells you that they're always dark, so the sun can't heat it so the water can evaporate. And then here it says water ice crystals seem to be mixed in with the dusty lunar soil, and it's a small lake's worth of water. Okay, so they found frost and water ice crystals. So that is what that paragraph is mainly about, and that's what you're looking for when you're looking for main idea. Okay, paragraph 5. How could scientists be sure this time? They sacrificed their spacecraft to find out. In July of 1999, engineers sent Lunar Prospector crashing into a dark crater at the moon's south pole. Scientists figured that the crash's dust cloud would have some water vapor in it, but no water showed up. The mystery of the water of the moon would take another 10 years to solve. Okay, so basically they crashed their spacecraft into it because there were supposed to be water particles mixed into the surface. But when they created the crash to cause water to splash, it didn't splash. So they created a splash and there was no water. Okay, paragraph 6, more than expected. When the robotic explorer Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter flew to the moon in 2009, another spacecraft piggybacked on it. The Lunar Crater Observation and Sensing Satellite, LCROSS, aimed to finally answer whether or not there's ice on the moon. Soon after launch, LCROSS separated from its ride and headed for Crater Cabeus near the moon's south pole. First, LCROSS sent its booster rocket crashing into the crater. The spacecraft quickly radioed back what it saw in the debris cloud. Only minutes later, LCROSS slammed itself into the crater too, as astronomers on Earth searched the kicked-up cloud for water and found it. Okay, so rocket slammed into the surface and found water. And that's your main idea for paragraph 6. Okay, and then we'll do paragraph 7. Yes, we found water, LCROSS scientist Anthony Calapreti told reporters during the big announcement in late 2009. And we didn't find just a little bit. They found enough water to fill a dozen 2-gallon buckets. There's likely a lot of ice on the moon. Okay, so enough water to fill a dozen 2-gallon buckets. So we'll just say large amount of water. Okay, and last paragraph, paragraph 8. While LCROSS solved the moon's water mystery, it created another one. Scientists haven't been able to identify some of the materials kicked up into the debris cloud yet. Scientists hope to find out what else might be hiding in them. Okay, so the main idea of paragraph 8 is there's unidentified materials in the moon's dust. Okay, I also have an example of what a main idea question might look like on an assessment. Okay, so we're going to look at number 4. How is the main idea in the first 2 paragraphs of the article related to the main idea in the rest of the article? Okay, so we're going to look at what we put for paragraphs 1 and 2. The moon may not be dry. Water can be preserved in cold areas without sun. So we want to know what these 2 have to do with the main idea of the rest of the article. So as a whole, this whole article was mostly about, is there water on the moon? Okay, so let's look at our answer choices. The first 2 paragraphs give reasons there could be water, ice on the moon, and the rest of the article explains how scientists have explored this possibility. B, the first 2 paragraphs describe which parts of the moon are the coldest, and the rest of the article explains how scientists have gathered data about temperatures on the moon. Okay, it doesn't tell us which parts of the moon are the coldest. That's not even relevant. Okay, so we can eliminate answer choice B. C, the first 2 paragraphs show how water on the moon could help people, and the rest of the article explains why LCROSS was sent into space to help gather information about ice on the moon. Okay, this is not even true, how water on the moon could help people. It does mention if there was a space station there, but as far as really helping people in the current situation, that's not relevant. So C is not a good answer. D, the first 2 paragraphs describe the problem scientists face in trying to collect information about the moon, and the rest of the article lists solutions that have helped overcome this problem. Okay, it does tell us that they're trying to decide if there's water on the moon, but this says describe the problem. We already know that there's a specific problem and that it's, is there water? Okay, so this doesn't tell you what kind of information. So the correct answer choice here is A. And that's all.